Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. I want to thank you for joining me for another Age Reforged replay battle. Today I've got another 1v1 for you. So if you guys are big fans of 1v1s, well, good news, you're going to be getting one more today. And I think that's it for the 1v1s that I've been sent. So then we're going to move into some larger scale games, which will be a nice change of pace. But yeah, as I've said in previous videos, I love 1v1s. They're very tactical, they're very deliberate, and they really highlight some cool comps. You can do things in 1v1s that you can't necessarily get away with in team battles. I mean, the reverse is also true, but 1v1s didn't have a particular flavor to them. So in any case, this replay was sent in to me by WK, who is the Mordor player. So big thank you to him. He's also one of our Reforged devs. He's responsible for a lot of the maps and other cool stuff that you see in the game, like the faction symbols in particular. But in any case, WK has brought a very interesting Mordor army. He's got 2 units of the Numenorean Lancers. 2. The other one's hanging out over there. I've got the Temple Inquisitors as well with their armor upgrades. If you guys haven't seen that yet, there it is. If you look closely, there is actually a pair of black shark-like, black Numenorean eyes peering out of that visor at you. And I think this is his General's Bodyguard. I'm pretty sure that Nazgul is his General's Bodyguard. He's also got 2 units of Olokai. Yes, 2. This is a very niche army. And he's got some more non-infantry as well. 1, 2, 3, and some more non-infantry. I believe 2 units of Temple Executioners as well. This is a very elite-heavy build that's really good, focused a lot more on quality over quantity. And he's got some orc fodder here on his front lines. And I think he's got some javelins in there, a couple units of orc javelins as well. And all of this you can afford on a 13k army. So a very, very potent rush army indeed. And let's see what his opponent is bringing to the battle today. His opponent is going to be Engsvitz, who's going to be playing as LINDON, and Engsvitz is actually quite comfortable as LINDON. I've seen him play a lot, and I think I've played games against him, and yes, he definitely knows what he's doing with LINDON. So this is just not some random person we've paired against one of the developers, don't worry. This is going to be a good battle. But he's brought some Noldoran Horse Lords, and I believe a unit of the Wardens of Harlingen, who are a Spear Cavalry unit. They have an AP charge, however, so they're kind of like a Lancer, Spear Cavalry / Bow hybrid. They can do a lot of stuff. It is like a Swiss Army knife of a unit, which is not something that we avoid, but it does help kind of differentiate them a little bit more from the Lancers, who are focused elsewhere. But yes, Wardens of Harlingen, very, very strong unit. Got a lot of you can get a lot of use out of them. Out in front, we got 2 units of Forlindon Archers. Nice little tiered defense here. And on the main line, of course, we've got the Harlingen Infantry. I believe there's 3 or 4 units of Harlingen Infantry and 3 or 4 units of the Forlindon Pikemen as well. And behind them, we've got 2 units of Mythalon Marines, 1, 2. And we've got some Forlindon Marines, and I think there's 2 units of them. So yeah, the full complement here of Velvin Jabs, and in the center, we have the Noldoran Guard. And let's just bask in the glory of this unit. Let's get right up and dirty with them. This is the product of the work of Arthelion, and I love his models. I've said it a million times in the past, but I'm going to say it one more time. They are beautiful. His work is incredible. I would give him a hug if I could, but since I can't, I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about how great his models are. So yeah, really cool unit there. The Noldoran Guard make an excellent anchor. They're a little bit heavier than some of the other LINDON units. Got higher mass as well, and they inspire. Currently, they cause fear, but that was not supposed to happen, so that will actually get changed. So don't get used to them causing fear. And I think he's got some other units here. 1 unit of Harlingen Guard. And yeah, so nicely balanced LINDON force that's quite heavy on the javelins, and it's got a little bit of cavalry support as well. That is it for the army comps. Let's go ahead and jump into the replay. Hope you guys enjoy it. Now, as you might expect, WK is going to waste no time in moving forward. You can see the large body of his troops here. A lot of his units are actually mixed in with the orc fodder. So, I mean, with the color difference, they are a little bit more obvious, but they're not going to be immediately apparent. And actually, some of these Numenoreans I think are a little bit slower than the orc fodder, so they're going to outstrip them. But still, a clever move there on the part of WK. Olokai bringing up being brought up on either wing. They're just going to push their way through the orc fodder. It's really funny how they do that, actually. Getting a little bit dirty as they march forward. God, I love the way these Olokai look, with all that dirt and the mud and the blood. It just ends up looking really, really cool. Crimson Beheli did an excellent job in importing these. I think they're from Lord of the Rings Conquest. Yeah, he ported the models over from Conquest to Age Reforged. Over here, I got the Noldoran Horse Lords. This is not a bad idea at all. Charging down cavalry with your trolls, you can see how much damage he did there to a lot of those Olokai. They're quite expensive, and to lose them like that, it's not great. The Noldoran Horse Lords are going to take some casualties in return, but ultimately it's going to pale in comparison to the damage that they did to the Olokai. So a great job there by Engsvitz. And you can see some Mythlon Marines over here, and I think the Wardens, or the 4 LINDON Marines as well, going to be focusing down the Olokai, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to wipe these expensive assets off the field when you see that your opponent has brought quite a lot of them. So you can see them being kited around a little bit here, but WK is actually going to put himself into a great position. He's going to keep his cavalry, of course, away from the Harlandon Guard, but he will be able to move in with his trolls once they run these Noldoran Horse Lords out of the neighborhood. But let's slow things down, because it's getting pretty crazy. Over here on the center line, Orc Fodder being thrown against Harlandon Infantry. Not a fight that you would expect them to win, but backed up with 2 units of Temple Inquisitors with their armor upgrades. Well, that's not going to be great for the Wardens of Harlandon. Seems like some of the 4 LINDON Archers are mixed in there as well, and the second unit of Olokai, basically unimpeded, is going to be able to make their way towards the front lines. Angsvitz is kind of holding back a little bit here. You got some 4 LINDON pikemen, and they're going to be used to as a reserve force and as a second line of defense once the Harlandon infantry are broken through. Over here, we got the Númenórean Lancers charging down into the Harlandon Guard, doing a lot of damage to them. 4 LINDON Marines, looks like they took some damage from something. I'm not too sure what. Maybe a charge from the Olokai or from the Temple Inquisitors. But yeah, over on this wing, Angsvitz's forces are in complete disarray because of the amount of shock value that the WK has brought to bear today. And speaking of shock, brutal charge from the rear here. Charge of opportunity by the Númenórean Lancers into the rear of the Harlandon infantry, and they don't like that. You can see that they are actually thinking about routing here. Things managed to get stabilized a little bit, but now the 4 LINDON pikemen are being brought forward. Mythlon Marines trying to deal with some of the cavalry over here, especially with the Temple Inquisitors and, more importantly, the Olokai, who they're still at 8. That's what the Noldoran Horse Lords brought them down to before, but they're still at 8. Very, very tough units. Another charge here from the Noldoran Horse Lords. Not the best angled charge, however. It is going to kill some of the trolls, but it is not going to be as devastating as it might have otherwise been. 4 LINDON pikemen moving forward here. Archer support raining down hell upon the Númenórean Lancers, but the damage is done and this wing is sufficiently weakened. And now the second line of mortar infantry moving forward. Got some more non-infantry moving into the center with the support of the Temple Executioners. This is going to be a tough fight for LINDON. Over here, got some trolls charging into the 4 LINDON pikemen. This is not always a great place for your trolls to be, but they have the mass to just push through here and to do a lot of damage to the 4 LINDON pikes. So yeah, really causing a lot of havoc. Harlandon infantry here being attacked from the rear, along with the 4 LINDON archers. Oh man, Olokai, fear-causing unit, possibly about to cause a rout. Support here in the form of the Wardens of Harlandon, charging into the wing of the Mordor forces. Some of those units just being ragdollized, tossed into the air. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. The charge there also getting into the Olokai, but the Olokai are going to counter-charge against the Wardens of Harlandon. They're going to take a fair amount of damage. That's going to leave the 4 LINDON Marines here open to a charge from the front by the Númenórean Lancers. Now these guys were technically braced, so they're going to do okay against that. And the Númenórean Lancers are going to be in quite a bit of trouble here, but they are stopping the 4 LINDON Marines from otherwise being a pain. Using their javelins on, say, the Olokai or the Mordor infantry, who they have a great angle on right now. So great job there on the part of WK, really keeping his enemies' important assets tied down and effective. Harlandon Guard here just getting massacred by a combination of Númenórean Lancers and some Olokai. Got some Mythlon Marines moving over, and I think they might be trying to zone out the Temple Inquisitors, or maybe they're going to go after the Olokai, but they are getting way too close here to be effective. And it seems like the Temple Inquisitors might want a piece of those Mythlon Marines, and I don't think they're going to get here in time to reform and then wind up for a throw. So instead, Angsvitz is going to move in with some pikes. It looks like maybe some of the wing of those Temple Inquisitors there are actually going to get caught on those pike units. Well, the charge from the front actually did a fair amount of damage, given the high attack values of a unit like the Temple Inquisitors. Pikes closing in from the rear, though, not where WK wants to stay for too much longer. Oh, look at that. Look at that, like, converging. This hill of needles moving forward towards the vulnerable horsemen, poking holes in them. A lot of them are going to die. Over here, though, the javelins are being 2 units of javelins being tied down by a single unit of Olokai. If that is not economy of force, I don't know what is. Númenórean Lancers getting a nice charge here into the 4 LINDON Marines. Being attacked from the rear by the Wardens of Harlandon. The Mordor Cavalry is not going to be able to stand it for too much longer with all these charges into Spearmen, and with the Spear Cavalry bearing down on the rear of a Lancer unit. But I think the damage is done. And those Trolls and the Temple Inquisitors have been so useful in the battle line. They have lent their strength to this otherwise mindless and nearly, in the face of an Elven infantry line at least, useless units of Orc infantry. Pulling on pikemen here, moving forward. Orc javelins, I think, have been brought back, and they were being used to counter snipe some of the units of enemy javelins, or being used to great effect against the LINDON pikemen. Noldor horse lords, not sure what they were doing there, but they are being chased down by some of the Olokai. LINDON archers in the back, still trying to do their thing. Got a very nice, fresh unit here of LINDON pikemen. They're just kind of sitting around, not being used to great effect. Mython Marines here ended up getting a little bit far ahead of themselves, and they got countercharged by the Temple Inquisitors. Probably would have been better off behind the lines, behind the shield of these LINDON pikemen, so definitely a bit of a lapse in either judgment or micro there on the part of Engsfits. Noldor Horse Lords really not having a great time trying to get those countercharges against the Olokai, trying to just destroy this final unit, but they're now behind the Elven center, and the Orcish infantry is really giving the Elves what for right now. So yeah, having those Olokai potentially charge into the rear of a unit of Harlan infantry, that could send the entire battle line running, and that would be the end. Got an Oldoran Guard here countercharging, and they're going to do very well against the Mordor infantry and against the Orc fodder, and even against the Olokai. You can see them finally bringing down these Olokai. And then we might start to see a little bit of an Elven counteroffensive here. LINDON Marines moving their way on to the wing, and they're going to be able to do a ton of damage to these Orcs. What we got back there? I think that's some Mythlon Marines tossing their payload into the center here as the Elves desperately try to bring back this infantry fight. Noldoran Guard moving in to roll up what remains of the Orc infantry line, hoping to turn this around. Still got some Orc Javelins in the back, though. I'm not sure what they're doing. Marines here trying to do their thing, but the Orc Javelins are going to be a little bit quicker. Oh, bit of a misfire. Nothing really happened there. But that Javelin fire converging on the center, and I think we might start to see, if this goes on, the Elves turn this fight around. Over on the other wing, Olokai being a complete nuisance, and a lot of the Elven infantry is actually being routed. So we're going to start to see both sides collapse in upon the center and try and rout the other team's forces off the field. But I think Mordor, because of their Temple Inquisitors, is going to have the advantage here. You can see the bulwark put up by the Noldoran Guard as they move in against Temple Executioners, rather, who are quite heavily reduced at this point and have probably taken a lot of HP damage, but still some Javelins nearby. Ooh, some friendly fire there as well. Not the greatest. Yeah, Javelin fire coming in from the Orc Javelins. I don't know. I don't think the Elves are not going to be able to come back from this, I don't think. Although, with the unit of Mythlon Marines in the back here, still fairly healthy. Orc fodder charging into LINDON archers. They should have no problem in dispatching those Orcs. It's really hard to tell who's going to be coming out on top in this, but I think it's going to be Mordor. Mordor's just got a lot of troops left. They can potentially surround what remains of the Elves and bring them down. Of course, they've got their cavalry still. Ooh, nice charge here by the not the four LINDON archers, the Temple Inquisitors into the rear of the LINDON position. Another Javelin volley coming in there. Ooh, knocking over one of the Noldoran Guard, but not killing him. Just falling back down again for no reason. Oh, he's having a hard time. But yeah, the Mordor forces moving in, surrounding what remains of the Elves. I think this is going to be game over. Those LINDON Marines are of greater quality than a lot of the remaining units, so I don't know, maybe these guys can cut their way out and be able to deal with one of these Temple Executioners. No, maybe not. 59 Temple Executioners. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to call this right now. Mordor has got this in the bag. A little bit of lag there. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Temple Executioners now making their move against the LINDON Marines, and this is going to be all she wrote for LINDON. So let's go ahead and let's fast forward it just a wee bit. All across the battlefield, the LINDON forces are being surrounded and ultimately destroyed. So these Mythlon Marines are sitting in defensive formation, which probably isn't the best. If they were to turn around and fight these Mordor infantry, they would do very well. They would do just fine. They might be able to counterattack with the LINDON archers and drive back some of this Mordor infantry, and maybe go for surrounds on the rest of these units. But it doesn't look like the LINDON player is going to be able to have an opportunity to do that. Ooh, nice Javelin volley there into the Temple Inquisitors. Well, it's going to kill about half the remaining unit. I think that's where the general is. So if they can destroy that general, well, the rest of the Orcs will probably rout off. So it's really in the balance here. Now another charge there into the Mythlon Marines. This is going to be, I think, game over for them. Though they have turned around now and they're counterattacking against the Mordor infantry. they're going to have no problems dealing with them. But still, 58 Temple Executioners. If the elves were able to break through these units, Inkfist actually trying to get his full LINDON archers back and use them to shoot at some of the orc blobs. Not the greatest idea, but if they were able to break through the mortar infantry, tying down their archers and the Mythlon Marines in the back, and move them against Temple Executioners and surround them, then they could have pulled this battle back. But unfortunately, that is not going to be able to happen, and this is going to be over. Molokai charging into the Mythlon Marines there. Mythlon Marines should beat the small amount of Molokai, but it seems like we're going to get an admit defeat from Inkfist. And it's going to be game over. The remaining elves of LINDON fleeing across the fields. A good game, though. Very, very strong. I liked WK's creative comp. It's actually the first time I've ever seen that. I had to go and check the funds afterwards to make sure that this was a 13k fund battle and that it was something that I could show as relevant to the meta. And yeah, that's 13k. It's very creative use of both mechanics, a lot of fear effects in there, a lot of cavalry, a lot of hard-hitting units, and yeah, really great and creative use of his funds. So yeah, great job there to WK. Inkfist did his best. This is an unconventional build, and it seemed like he wasn't really sure about what to do about it, which in and of itself can be a useful thing. If your enemy doesn't know how to fight your army, even if they have the tools to beat it, they don't know how to bring those tools to bear against you. So it was cool. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. I'll take care everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!